Hey everyone, it's Shay Seeking. Welcome back to the channel. Um, Yesterday I did some stuff on Deuteronomy 4. I think we started off at 15 or 16, and we read a little bit there. And I think I want to just go ahead and go back. I kind of, this is my real time here when y'all see this on the screen. And y'all don't take all that time to make everything fancy. Matter of fact, I couldn't even find anything to put on the screen real quick, in order to share. So I just put this up. So, and because I kind of I'm digging this scripture a little bit. I'd like to see what it says in the living Bible, but maybe we'll get there. We're in Deuteronomy 4, maybe we'll get there. Oh, maybe today. Or did we already read it yesterday? Let's see. Oh, wow. So, I guess it is, let me see. Well, this is not my Deuteronomy 4 and 29. I'm on 4, 26, 28, and 29. Okay, and 29 in the Living Bible, 4 and 29 in this Living Bible says, so we remained in the valley near Boreth. And then Deuteronomy 4 and 29 on, let me stop. And oh, again, y'all, this is not even planned. I kind of fell asleep. Let me see. Okay, this is 3. So that's 3 and 29. And then, okay, so we didn't get to 4 yet. So maybe that's something that we'll run into today. Yeah, because I was just thinking about something. I kind of was upstairs and I kind of dozed off a little bit. Came down here to switch over some clothes in the dryer. And then I'm like, you know what? Let me just hop back on and just freestyle. I haven't even read this. I see I marked it up a bit. So I must have read it a long time ago. And, like I told you guys, I flip and flop, not back and forth like when I'm trying to make a point. I don't necessarily feel it's necessary to hop all over the Bible to make a point, especially when you're viewing it or seeing it the way that I'm seeing it. It's really better to kind of stay on the road that you're on and just pick up little like breadcrumbs along the way, to prove the point that I'm trying to make about it following along with a storyline, of it being actual something that could have happened in real life in history, and maybe not even history from that far back or that long ago. So, everything, it's a lot of randomness, but it kind of makes sense on this channel. So, yeah, I think today we will actually get to that scripture. And that's so funny because I just said, let me look up Deuteronomy and pull up something that I can pop up on the screen, and this kind of struck me out of everything on the page, and so I said, let's roll with it. So anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to 3. No, this is 4. Yeah, I think this is going to be 4, chapter 4, verse 15. And it says, beware you didn't see the form of God that day he spoke to you from the fire at Mount Horeb. Okay. So, I don't know, it's saying 16 and 17. Maybe it's redirecting you, letting us know that that's coming up or whatever. The way that it's worded on here, it says, so do not defile yourselves by trying to make a statue of God, okay, an idol in any form. So let's see. And then here we go right here. If you go back a little bit to 12, it says, and the Lord spake to you from that fire. You heard his words, but did not see him. Okay. He proclaimed the laws you must obey, the 10 Commandments, and wrote them on 2 stone tablets. Yes, it was at that time the Lord commanded me to issue the laws you must obey when you arrive at the promised land. Okay. So it says, but beware, you didn't see the form of God that day as he spoke to you from the fire at Mount Horeb. Excuse me. So don't defile yourselves by trying to make a statue of God, an idol in any form. Okay. And I guess when I was reading this, because it has do not make any idols at the top of the page, I had already written like idol right here. So it says whether of a man, okay, woman, animal, bird. Okay, so again, the, the way this is just standing out to me is that we are just getting a very somewhat accurate description of what you should not. These are some of the things. They didn't name a lot of things, but these are some of the things that, whether it's a man God or a woman God, but if there were no such thing as these particular types of gods back then, and if there was only one God, then why would this have to tell? Why would he have to tell me, don't make any images of that God, because you didn't see that God in that burning bush or whatever that day. You just heard it. Okay. So whether it's a man, now this is to these particular people. So this is real time. I'm not sure how long they should follow these, but it said these things should never change. When you get to this land that I'm taking you, don't fall for these things. Don't worship any of these things. And it says forever. These are, you should not change these things from the Lord your God. Remember? So it says a man. So these particular people, no matter what we think that religion has taught us, the various amount of people that it has taught, and this might change somewhere down the line while we're reading, but I mean, just common sense and just everything right here tells me that these particular people were told. Now, if you can trust this person as a real source, or if this is what that actual so-called God told you that day, then you probably might want to listen to it. But I mean, some people may not. So, but I'm just saying that we have, and so when we look at Jesus, and there's statues of him, and people kiss the feet, and all these other things. That is a man, from what we can see. From what we can see so far, he that is a man, and it will be a idol. And these people were told by God or their God not to do that. If you look at Mary, the Virgin, that is an idol. So if you're worshiping that, or if you're bowing down to it, kissing it, rubbing it, whatever you're doing, that is still going to be an idol. If we say an animal, I'm not sure why we had to distinctively say an animal or a bird. Okay. But maybe we'll find out a little bit further down the line. So let's see. An animal, a bird. I mean, this could be like a totem pole or something. This could be uh, like the eagle or the phoenix, or the whatever they call these different birds that may or may not be emblems of certain nations. Okay. It says a small animal that's uh wait. Okay, hold on. My hair is in the way. A small animal that, oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. Okay. What does it say? A small animal that runs along the ground. There's like a little dark spot. I only have a little spot because I'm moving my stuff around in this room. Um, I was hoping to go make it down to get me a new desk this past weekend, but I kind of rigged something up to make a makeshift desk here. So it's kind of short and I really can't fit anything on here. And the book is kind of hanging off, but we're going to go ahead and get through this because it's only a little bit I want to go through. So I hope y'all stick with me. So, a small animal that runs along the ground. Yeah, so I don't know who even that doesn't ring a bell to me, um, or why that it would even make sense. Um, yeah, I don't know who. I can't go with that one. So let's see. Or a fish. Excuse me. So we have now we're talking about a fish. And the only fish that just coming to my mind is that fish that they say it's like a some kind of symbol that looks, people say it look resemble a fish that represents the Church of Christ or something with this thing. I'm not 100% sure. You know, you guys can stop me if I'm wrong, but it's this little symbol that looks kind of like a fish. But other than that, I can't really um, you know, say. And do not look up into the sky. And I know I read it funny like this, but this helps me kind of take each word and see where I need to stop and go a little bit deeper or look little bit deeper. So it says, and do not look up into the sky to worship. Now, this it sticks out to me a little bit because it does say, um, okay, it does say, do not look up into the sky to worship. Now, I say you can't, don't say you can't study. Um, I mean, I don't think worship really means studying or whatever. It doesn't say you can't just look up into the sky. It just says don't look up into the sky to worship. But you know what comes to my mind is the fact that we've been taught all our life to maybe get on our knees and close our eyes or even look up, you know, into the heavens. That or how can you tell me that my so-called God is in heaven and heaven is in the sky and then tell me not to look there, but then at some point in time I'm supposed to be looking there because somebody's supposed to be coming out of the sky with a horse or something. So I mean, I'm not making fun. I'm just, you know, saying. But this is also, you have to understand, this is to a particular people. This is why we can't all think that there's these three major religions or a couple of different religions and everybody, you know, is supposed to subscribe to them. That would just be kind of silly to think. Um, I just don't know because all through the Bible, we're separating people. We're separating people by tribes, um, by different things. I mean, there's it's here, so we can't run away from it. You have to address it, look at it, and see what we're really maybe talking about. So it says, "Do not look up into the sky to worship." Okay, the sun. Okay, now I guess we can say that's the sun, the actual, you know, supposedly big yellow thing that's up there, but sometimes it's white and kind of just look like a fluorescent light. hmm in the sky. And then the moon or the stars. Okay, this one is don't look up into the sky to worship the sun, moon, or stars. And we could be saying the sun, SON, or we could be saying the SUN. Okay, the Lord may permit other nations. Okay, see, listen here now. So this is a separation of a group. So we can't all just say, oh, this is what we're supposed to do because this was told to a certain person at a certain time in that era sometimes, and just chop it up to be what was for every nation to follow these things. I'm saying you just can't just do that. So it says the Lord may permit other nations. Okay, so this Lord, not this is a Lord by itself, not um Lord God or nothing else, just the Lord may permit other nations to get away with this. Okay, but not you. So there's other people that can get away with this, but not these particular people. You can't be everybody in the Bible, people. So um if we jump over here to the King James Version, let's go ahead and use that since so many people like to use that book. So it said, unless thou wait, the likeness of any winged fowl. Okay, so that gets a little bit. I just have to go back. Okay, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you graven images. So now they're called graven images. The similitude of any figure. So this is of any type of figure. The likeness of male or female. There's a lot of those particular deities, not just in Christianity or anything. I'm just what do they have? Oh, I would think maybe I'm not gonna call out who it is, but whoever the people are that run around that cube over there. I don't know what people that are in or Muslims or whatever. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen them having like an actual um, what do you call it, statue or anything. I mean, I could be mistaken. I think I've seen somewhere where they go to that cube and that they bow down and they do these things or whatever, but they do have and a moon and a star maybe or something. I'm not 100% sure what their uh you know logo or emblem or whatever you might want to call it. So it says the likeness of any beast that is on the earth. Now, I underline that probably because I was maybe trying to show the harsh difference that it says the likeness of any beast. And at one point in time, they tried to say that was the black man really the beast? And then there are some, pro-black, so-called black people that think that the so-called white man is the beast. So I don't know. I tend to think that the beast is more of a system, this whole system that we're under. But one thing is for sure is that it is on the earth. It is on the earth. Literally, when we talk about the soil, whatever this is able to, whatever this thing is that is up on the earth, which could be literally like it could be the actual soil, okay, that we're talking about, or the earth as we know it, planet earth or whatever. Or we could be also talking about the peoples of the earth or the soil, which would be the beginning races or people, um, is how I look at it personally. So it says the likeness of any winged fowl. Now that's giving me a little bit, more than just a bird. So it says any winged fowl, and I really don't know any fowls that don't have wings, but maybe you guys do. But that flieth in the air. Okay. Oh, okay. So maybe we're not talking about chickens because they don't fly in the air. Okay. And it says the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground. Okay. So now I can kind of see a small thing that creepeth on the ground. Um, could possibly, now that I'm thinking about it, could possibly be maybe like a snake or something, you know. It could be like a serpent or a snake or something, or we see that being, what I'm trying to say is we see that being used in the Egyptian uh stuff with the little snake heads on the foreheads. We know that, like, that emblem or that symbol is the two things wrapped around the uh whatever it is for the I don't know if it's a cross or not right now, but for the medical field, the emblem or whatever. Okay, and it says the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Okay, so the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Now, this is just random, guys. You know how it is. Any fish. Now, this breaks it down a little bit more than the Living Bible this time, um, because the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air, you know, but we're talking about something else, about idols right now. So I don't think that we're talking about what I was thinking we're talking about. So let's just keep it there. But I know that sometimes when we're talking about the of the waters, I just have to be careful because there are fishers of men, okay, that were fishing for men. Um, Spiritually, or in order to put the hooks in their mouth to bring them into certain religions, in ways of thinking. And then there were also, you know, when it says of the waters, I just don't know, because I know when we're talking about waters, sometimes we're actually still talking about groups of people that came, in the waters. This could possibly be saying. And this says this is beneath the earth. So we can also be talking, I mean, I don't know if we know that there is uh why, how we would know, most people, about a fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. So I don't know how many of you have been beneath the earth, but I'm just saying, for us to bring this into a literal way of thinking. But I've never been really, like, able to spot any fish under the earth, nor do I want to go under the earth anytime soon if I really don't have to. So, like that. So, or that deep. So what this has to mean is we might be talking about something else. So that if something is beneath me, okay, that maybe, and this is just me going off the cuff, saying that maybe, like, I can kind of imagine, like, a lot of images I see with the boats coming up to shore, and then there are people coming off of these things out of the water, um and somebody saying, hey, and since this was the Lord God of, remember what we were talking about yesterday, this is the Lord God's demands of their fathers, okay, that was saying these particular things. And that would mean that maybe we're talking about some indigenous peoples, and maybe you shouldn't be making any images of any of these people that come from the waters, or anything that they give you, period. You know what I'm saying? you don't really need to worship. And if you go back into a lot of the writings about the American Indians or the earlier people here, they didn't have a so-called God like that, and they kind of really thought that you were embodied or connected to that source. Already, that you didn't have to go to church and do all these other things like this, that you were already connected to that source, and that's because that's where you came from. So I would think that those people would think some kind of way about themselves, or have some kind of way about feeling about them and their people, and they would tell them that, hey, these people that are coming over here are beneath you. Never worship them or anything like this, because this might get you in a situation where they can take your mind over, and then generations to come, okay, maybe I'm getting in my feelings a little bit, they will be able to re-educate your children in the future generations on who they are, instead of you knowing, like maybe you're going to lose yourself with these people coming in, and they're beneath you, so you really don't need to deal with any of their dealings or whatever. That could be going far-fetched, but these are just alternative ways. Like I told you, I read this in different layers. It's just the way it is. Let's see. Unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, okay, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven. Now, see, what is this? All the host of heaven. Um, that's intriguing. Shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Okay. So now, okay, we switch gears here. So, okay, let's start all over again. It's okay to do this because it kind of helps. So, and lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven. All the host of heaven. That's saying so many things to me. I'm just going to bypass it. Shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Okay. This is saying so many things to me that I'm just going to go ahead and just break away from that and just look a little deeper into that to see what I'm really feeling like I'm reading right here. But again, I just wanted to show you guys that we're being redirected here, because now it is the Lord thy God has done this. Okay? So this is what it's saying. If you're going to do these things here, the Lord thy God hath this plan. And he have divided people into all nations under the whole heaven. Okay, so we could be talking about different. We could be talking about one heaven or different levels of heaven right here, but we're just gonna go ahead and leave it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and jump. Wait, this is getting kind of a little interesting in the King James Version. But the Lord has taken you, okay, and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt, okay, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. Okay, now we're on this page right here, and y'all know that my desktop is really messy, but don't mind that right now. Let's see. Okay. Now, wait. To be unto him a people of inheritance, as ye are this day. Okay, so inheritance, a thing that is inherited. He came into a comfortable inheritance, a legacy. Let's even see, because a lot of this stuff people claim is a legacy. An amount of money or property left to someone in a will. Now we know many a thing handed down, okay. Let's see, denoting or relating. Okay, let's see. Inheritance. A birthright. What's a birthright? A particular right of possession or privilege one has from birth, especially an eldest child. Okay, so an eldest child, this would mean that now we do know that when some of these people came into these nations, they inherited these people as children, and that some still say in law, we are still minors to some extent, unknowingly, you know, and when they came to birth, this nation, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, uh, like a delivery birth from a woman, but it could also be from the sea. And again, we go back to that maritime law. Um, but it's basically saying to somebody through birth or birth rights or whatever, you can have this thing. Okay, so a natural or a moral right possessed by everyone. So inheritance is a practice of passing on property, okay, titles, debts, rights, and so like our sins really just some kind of form of debt? I don't know. Rights and obligations upon the death of an individual. Now here we go again. I know that everything that I say is not like in, order, but I'm just hoping to plant seeds so that when you hear other stuff, it'll then ring a bell, because this right here speaks a couple different volumes to me, because there is someone that is claiming to be the original people here. And that's okay, because right now I am on the fence about who exactly supposedly were the people in the Americas from the beginning. I don't think I can really truthfully tell you that I know that for a fact, and I know that everybody that was here and what they looked like. But I do know that some people are in cahoots with that beast that we happen to be in the belly of, and they may be either withholding information or not being uh, truthful or open about who may have been here before them. Now, some of these people do say they don't know. Like when it comes to like the old earthworks and the old mounds and stuff like that, a lot of people say that stuff was here already. A lot of so-called Native Americans that you would think are Native American today state that they don't know who built those. A lot of the stuff was here before. So now when we're thinking about this, there's an inheritance, is the practice of passing on property, titles, debts, right. This sounds like all kind of like some kind of stuff in that structure that we're in. And then it says obligations upon the death of an individual. Now if there is a uh, death of a nation by law, when you claim to be African American or black, which are just black as a color, is not really a nationality. And then maybe we can go more into nationality and why I be choosing to do these videos late. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll talk about it another time. But race, nationality, and all these different terms that we use so openly but really don't dig deep into what they really mean. So the rules of inheritance differ among societies and have changed over time. So let's see. Let's take the same word. since I'm lazy and look up, because it's important. It's important to use these. These words are, you know, supposed to mean something. You're supposed to be able to find something tangible with this information, not just be, just living on faith and belief, and belief. That's what my youngest daughter used to call it, and belief. Um, Not me. That's not how I choose to go down. So it says late 14th century inheritance. Now that would be nice to go ahead and look up that way of spelling it. I'm gonna take that and maybe look into that later, because sometimes older books and stuff, information, we might be looking at some of this stuff with the modern terms or the newer way of spelling it and missing out on a lot of information. So I like to jot down different ways that I see them using the words or spelling them. So it said fact of receiving by heredity. Um, there's another thing, succession, early 15th century, as that which is or may be inherited from Anglo French and Old French inheritance, from Old French inheritance or make hair. Appoint as heir. See inherent, act of inheriting. Okay. To make, okay, now we get a little bit back into, a long time ago, when we're talking about the 13th century. I think that's what this means. And I would look at it as like the 1300s. It kind of rounds it out for me. To make someone an heir. A sense now obsolete. Make heir. Maker. Meet your maker. Y'all, I'm so tired. Okay, let me stop playing around. Attribute the right of inheritance to appoint as heir, from inhereditary, whatever, to appoint as, okay, you get the point. Sense of receive inheritance, get by succession as representative of the former uh, possessor. Um, is attested from this and whatever. Okay, original sense. Okay, y'all see what we see here. So let's go ahead and go back to our little kind of image right here. Just pretend like y'all don't see all that other stuff behind there. So, somebody was going to inherit something. So if there was a death, or maybe there was, the people were killed off or removed, or maybe by law they had been having their rights as a nation taken away, right? So, or they were enslaved or something, then somebody else would come in and take this land. So this is what that particular God is telling them that they're going to go ahead and do. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back to the living and the Living Bible, and we're going to go ahead and just go ahead and keep going. So the Lord may permit other nations to get away with this, but not you. The Lord, just the Lord, has rescued you from prison dash Egypt dash to be his special people. So these are the people that he's talking to. Now, we can't say that this is all, that I think we're talking about Moses. I'm kind of lost because we're not bringing up names anymore. But I think that's what we're talking about, is telling these people that they're going to be a special people. So it can't be everybody, but there is going to be a special people. Okay. Okay. His own inheritance. This is what you are today. So now that Lord, which is thy Lord, what I'm figuring, because that's the last one we talked about. And if it's saying thy Lord, that means this is your Lord. But we were already told previously in 4, in 16, and throughout that area, that the Lord the God of their fathers had told them some certain rules, and then he comes back and also feels like we're examining some other laws from this new God. So maybe you can keep those, but these are ones that you're going to have to follow as well. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just telling you guys what I kind of see. So and then this person is saying that you're going to be his inheritance, and there was a father, okay, and you had to call them father, and today you still call particular people in these religions or whatever father, okay. So what I'm saying is, when we're talking about don't defile your father, and then others people, when we're talking about husbandmen or the bride of, that was also marrying into another, could be also talking about marrying into another nation, because I think we're going to go into something else where we're talking about that word cleave again, so that you will cleave on to, that doesn't mean in the uterus. Because remember, even in when we're talking about Genesis, and took the rib from Adam and formed the child and then brought it back to them. So actually it wasn't like, I mean, if you really read that part, um then they said, from now on, this is what's going to happen. The child is going to cleave on to whatever. And I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying this is another time that we see that word cleave. But then we also were seeing it when it came to certain leaders, in that the people of those nations were told to cleave onto that new person that took ownership of those allotments, or those, whatnot. So it says, his own inheritance, that is what you are today. So whatever, there's still, this would be a slave, okay? This would be somebody that was taken on. Just like you would even think when they say about so-called slavery, that after the person passed away, the slaves went to someone else in the family line. Okay. So this is what you are today, but he was angry with me because of you. Okay. So that guy was angry with him because of them. Oh, excuse me. He vowed. I really need to carve out time during my day to do this. He vowed that I could not go over the Jordan River into the good land. Okay, he has given you. So he's saying that this person has been leading them, but he can't go over, you know, to the land that was given to them as their inheritance. So they are the inheritance of this person, but then now they are going to inherit something somewhere else. So now they're going to have their own, okay? And they're going to have to do with that. So it might seem like this Lord was setting up stations in different places, using, himself, and then go ahead and stationing other people, um, in different places that were maybe inherited due to the death of people, moving, or people being moved on or enslaved again, or any other things that could have been happening to these people, or by law. Okay. So let's see. I must die here on the side of the river. Okay. And that's very interesting. I really want to look more about this. Because it'd be like, go die or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying that it said this, but I'm just saying in certain scriptures, I mean, I think it does say go and sleep with your fathers or whatever forever. I can't remember. I think it was when it came to Moses or something. Um, yeah, but that always, like, what do they just go over there in the mountains and then they just die, or are we just talking about they need to just go and be free, or are they just being released from um well, no, they wouldn't be being released from society or whatever legally, but yeah, I don't know. So it said, die here on the side of the river. Wait, on this side of the river. I mean, that just sounds weird to me. I would like to just go more into this one day. Beware lest you break the contract. So there was actually a contract. Okay. I look at these as like treaties and all these other things that were made that they don't want you to break as the uh, native or indigenous or whatever other population, but they can do it all day. Or they can find a way to do these things to you in the small print. Okay. So the Lord your God has made with you. Okay. So this is now it went from whatever it went to these laws or these other things to a contract. And I do want to start digging up on some of these different treaties and stuff that was being made from uh, the ancient times or times, in the beginning of their destruction or whatever. So the Lord, okay, so yeah, the contract, the Lord your God. So they're making this distinguish just between these gods to make you aware that we are talking about different entities. But we have been foolishly misled by people, okay, to think that we just need to shovel all these terms together. And people want to say, well, why are you doing this? This is crazy, or it don't make no sense. How you just gonna put this together with that and everything? But it's just basically separating things. It's learning how to separate what you've been first of all, I had to learn to forget everything that I've been told and learn how to look at everything with the eye of an eagle. So when I'm breaking apart, when I talk to people, and this is why I'm saying sometimes I cannot even function around a lot of people because I'm kind of like always a lot in my head. And then a lot of times I'm looking through the souls of people. So when I get back from things that I attend, I'm drained because I'm just looking at this whole world as a deeper thing, kind of like how a baby or a child, looks at the world, again. So um it can be a little bit overwhelming is all. So um anyways, okay, don't break that contract, that Lord your God. And see, this would stop a lot of people right here. If you just say you got to break down everything and go ahead and separate everything and keep the mindset of that particular situation in your mind when they're gonna just say forget that. People would rather just read this like, oh yeah, I just read it, but I mean, it's hard for me. I may not, the whatever mm, somewhat of a gift this is, or a way of thinking that this is, I cannot turn it off. It's not a choice. So it's been going on for years and years and years, and I just can't turn it off. So, um, Lord your God has made with you. You will break it if you make any idols. Okay, so they're gonna break that bond that they have with that God if they make any idols. Okay, for the Lord your God has utterly forbidden this. So this is the thing: the Lord their God has utterly forbidden this. He is a devouring fire. Okay, listen to this. He is a devouring fire. I mean, is it telling you what he is? Boy, listen. You know, do you know what this brings? Why? I don't know, but maybe it will mean something to somebody. It reminds me of the fires of 1812 and all of those incidents that were happening around the world between though like 18 um I'll just say 12, could have been a little bit before that, up to 1820 some. There was just like a lot of devastation, a lot of, catastrophes, a lot of fires, a lot of Some people said that they were comets, some people just said that they were just great fires or whatever, but there was a lot of weird stuff with that going on. It really was back then. And like I told you, I'm not telling you what it is or what it ain't. I'm just telling you that that's just what that reminds me of. And it says it's a jealous God. Okay, so here we go. I could be in the future. The future could have been talking about my mom and my dad. Could have been another generation before me. But let's just read what it says. This already kind of puts my radar up because it's saying in the future. Okay, so in the future, when your children and grandchildren are born and you have been in the land a long time. So when I look at something like that, I want to stop for a second to say they didn't just say when you're, in the future and leave it at that. They didn't just say in the future when your descendants and leave it after that. No, it was very specific. It said in the future when your children and grandchildren are born and you have been in the land for a long time. So this is a great or a great. This is these are a couple, and then I want to just go ahead and count back from me. So maybe it could be talking about me. It could be talking about my children next. But let's just go ahead and because I'm reading this and I'm um, feeling some type of way about it, let's just see um, who we might be talking about. When we look at the laws and all the injustice that's been going on with certain people, I'm going to go ahead and say that um, there's people that have been here a long time and there's some people that have not. Even if they've been here, there's some terms being used to call these people a certain group of people that have are newer terms or whatever, and some are older. But when your grandchildren and wait, when your children and grandchildren are born, okay. So let's just say that the younger crowd or us, now seeing this word and we may be what they call so-called star children or seeds or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's what we are, but I'm just saying when you start looking at that, um, that maybe the 80s, the 70s, or the 80s, maybe late 70s, 80s babies or whatever may be talking about the grandchildren. Okay. So it says, and you have defiled. Okay. So now it's saying that they're going to defile themselves by making idols. So, okay. So whoever's telling these people this knows that one day they're going to defile themselves, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, um, what do I want to say? I got so much to say. That doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has a magic ball or something like that, and they're looking through it and telling you, "I see you doing this." No, this is just psychiatry, uh, like dealing with the mind, basically. And we all know that sometimes the big dog uses little dogs to help him roll in a new thing, and he just treats them like they're the favorites because he's using them for something, and when they will fall like everybody else. So this person is saying in the future, when your children and grandchildren are born and you have been in the land for a long time, so either they already know that you've been in a long time and you've already sealed whatever, or done your part in maybe even deceiving the real people of this land or those lands, you and you have defiled yourselves. So now those children have lost knowledge, okay, and those grandchildren have lost lots of knowledge and information about the old days. And so now they're defiling themselves by making these idols, and the Lord your God is very angry because of your sin. So now this Lord your God, not our, not thy, but your God, is going to be very angry because of your sin, because you went ahead and you started defiling yourself with these particular things, um, heaven and earth are witnesses that you shall be quickly destroyed from the land. So now it's saying heaven and earth are witnesses, okay, that you shall be quickly destroyed from the land. Soon now you will cross the Jordan River and conquer. So now this is the land that they're going to. They're going to have to conquer it. Okay. So now, okay. But okay, but stop. Heaven and earth are witness, because of heaven and earth are witnesses that you shall be quickly destroyed from the land. Okay. Soon now you will cross the Jordan River and conquer the land. Okay. So now this is, we could, one might think automatically that we're saying that he was talking to them about what they're going to do now and next. But in all actuality, this is what he was going to do after these particular generations. After these particular generations had fallen. So this might be closer to our time than it was when he was already just leading them where they were going before. So this is basically talking about in the future. So we're still in the future. So this is, somebody's going to be mad because of all these idols that we're worshiping, maybe including Jesus and Mary and whoever else or whatever else idols that we worship. And they're going to be angry. And then, like it says, heaven and earth are witnesses that thou shalt be quickly destroyed from the land. Soon now you will cross the Jordan River and conquer that land, but your days there will be brief. Okay? So their days there, wherever this is going to be brief. You will then be utterly destroyed. So they're going to be destroyed at that point in time. So these people know that they're just on a particular mission. Maybe they didn't care because it's not going to be them, but it's going to be their future generations. I don't know. Maybe they felt obligated. Maybe this is, kind of remind me of like a slow sacrifice, or like how uh, we kind of see these suicide bombers. I mean, that they knew that this was the part of the plan, basically. Okay. And they knew that at the end of this might particularly happen to them and they might end up, dying off or whatever. So let's take a sip. Okay. You will then be utterly destroyed, for the Lord, now this is just the Lord, it's not the one of your fathers, not our fathers, not their fathers, not no other kind of thing. This is the Lord, okay? Will scatter you among the nations. Again, okay? And you will be but few in numbers, okay? You getting this, right? Because this already happened now, okay? They're far away, so it's far away from where you were, okay? You will worship idols made from wood and stone. So now here's another portion. So this is a whole nother time. We're in the same little section between 25 and 27, but we're talking about different times. We're splitting up time. There's a whole bunch of years in between this little category. So it says, far away you will worship idols made from wood and stone. Now, I'm not sure when it comes to this wood, but I kind of look at the cross or whatever, when we talk about that wood. But then the stone, I don't know. That reminds me of that black cube that I was telling y'all about, that people be, whatever. Idols that neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. Oh, okay. So, but I don't think any idols can do that. Oh, but you know what? If we were talking about before, a man or a woman or an animal or a bird or a small animal or a fish or whatever, those all eat. Okay. But in this case, it's talking about these are going to be something that is going to, I mean, and then you would assume that people can think that these beings would be able to see if they were not in this stone, I mean, in the structure that they're in, when I'm telling you that statues or whatever, when they weren't supposed to make statues or any kind of carvings or any graven images or whatever. Engraven just makes me, oh, you know what, since we're here, at the end of the day, I could be putting these videos out for myself just to get this information out and really wouldn't even think twice about it. So let's see. What was I gonna be? Dang it. I can't remember. See how quick I lose my track, my mind. Okay, so far away you were. Okay, of wood and stone. Okay, but anyways, we would think that those idols could see and everything. But it says that neither see nor eat nor smell. Okay, but you will also begin to search again for. Okay, so let's see this. But you will also begin to search again for Jehovah your God. Okay, so there is going to be a Lord that is going to be in the mix, and he's going to come and scatter you around. But your but you are going to start looking for your God again. And you shall find him when you search for him with all. Okay, so this must be the scripture that we have here. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. Now let's see what it says in here. But you will also begin to search again for Jehovah your God, and you shall find him you shall find him when you search for him with all of your hearts and soul. And let's see what it says in the King James Version. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him if thou seek him with all of thy heart and with all of thy soul. So it doesn't matter if we talking about this random scripture that's on the screen, or if the one in the Living Bible, or if the one in the King James. So there's something to do with a soul that I never really heard people really talk about a soul when it comes to religion. But you know, that maybe that's something that might be expanded on. What do we really know about what the soul is? How deep have we looked into that? Because if this is some kind of way that I need to find my God, I would probably, want to know what that really means, more than some of the other foolishness that they give us in religion to tell us that these are the things that will get us to a certain place. So I'm so upset that I didn't get to, uh, that I lost my track of thought my train of thought when I was trying to do what I was about to do. Anyways, so you will begin. Sorry, y'all. I should be in bed. Okay. When you seek him, so it says you will find him when you do this. When those bitter days have come upon you. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing bitter days, but hey, that could be talking about something for me to pay attention to, okay? Because we are in the later days, okay? Times are bitter. Um, we have somebody promising to make them great again, but really, time's been bitter for a long time. So, have come, okay, when those bitter days have come upon you in the latter times. And still, it might not be talking about these particular people, but the people that sprung from these people, okay? You will finally return. Okay, so you will, not you might. It says you will finally return to the Lord your God and listen to what he tells you. Okay? For the Lord your God is merciful. So this is just a particular God. This is not all gods. This is not even all the times they talking about God in the Bible. This is talking about these particular people and their God. So when people say, "Oh, our God is," no, wait, do you even know if you the people? And that's what I'm saying. Even when it comes to, I know that we're trying to find ourselves when it comes to darker view people or so-called black people, but we can't be everybody in the Bible, and we can't be in every instance. I think we can be the root of everything, and we were that there at the creation of all of these other uh, races, so-called races or nations. But again, the whole thing is not talking about us. We have to really dig and find out who we may be talking to at these particular times. And if you want to ask my opinion, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, it's hard to decipher if we're talking about the other half of the people that we call Native Americans today, if it has something to do with their lineage, that could be mixed, okay, with or not the other people that were in America that had a different look, that ended up having their nationality stripped away from them and took on other views and took on other names and took on different lands and so on and so forth and so forth. So I'm conflicted when we're talking about who these particular people are, okay? Because maybe our great grandparents or great great grandparents did not go with this whole church thing and this thing. It just seemed like it was beat into the generation prior to my parents' generation. I think that I group things differently when I see it, and I'm just mean anybody that is maybe under, um, okay, anybody that grew up in the 80s. In It's hard to explain. So what I just mean is maybe okay, when I look at my family and I look at my generation right now today, you have a lot of people that like to go to church for whatever reasons, and I'm not even judging anybody, or I'm not, cuz I don't know what they go for personally. But I'm just saying when I look at people around me today, even younger people my age, they like to go, they like to dress up, they like to be at church, they like staying with the church. And some people are really falling away from it altogether. But when it came to my parents, they were kind of in church and out. They maybe made you even attend, and I'm, in my 30s, we'll say. And they made us attend church either by ourselves, or maybe a lot of us remember maybe growing up in the late 70s, maybe in the 80s, in the early 90s, that your parents might be in and out of church, or they might send you with a grandparent. Okay. Um, so I think that was a slight falling away there. And then you have our grandmas, and most of us so-called black people had a grandma that told you that you had Indian in your family, because she really didn't know the way to tell you that you were Indians, okay? And they also were thick in the church, didn't miss a Sunday. And I'm not saying that there's not still people out here like that, but these were a different breed of the American Indian, or the American Negro, whatever you want to call it. Very beautiful people, very lovely people. They may have been caught up in this whole religious thing, but all this stuff I believe is supposedly happened for a reason in order to lead this thing the way that it's going. Okay. Um, and nowadays, some of us that went through that, we are all saying, hey, wait a minute. It has to be something else to this, and we gonna find it. So I think that this is what's going on. There is a change that is happening to us more on a mental aspect than it is even physically. And then the physical is going to follow. And when all the chips fall, there is going to be something that comes out of this on the other side, or there's going to be an outcome. And this is going to serve to protect our children and their children. Those of us maybe 50 and younger in their futures. Okay. So that's just my opinion. This is not in the Bible, So okay, so um, okay, so you're gonna search Jehovah your God, and you shall find him when you seek him with all of your heart and soul. Okay, and it says you will finally return to the Lord your God and listen to what he tells you. For the Lord your God is merciful. He will not abandon you, nor destroy you, nor forget the promises he made to your ancestors. Okay, so this is a long term relationship that they have with this thy God. Okay. So there might be a new sheriff in town, but there's somebody else that is maybe looking after these people. Maybe maybe tied up at the moment. I don't know. I'm just saying. So let's see. And just because I enjoyed reading that so much, and I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I think it's already been an hour, and I just don't know exactly how people feel about these type of videos. So I just want to go ahead and read the King James version of what I just read, Deuteronomy 4, and we'll start at 24. Okay, so for wait. Oh, I think that's what I was going to say, something about a graven image. But I don't know what graven exactly. I can't tell you the definition right off at the top of my head. But when I feel we talking about a graven image, I I don't know. I'll be thinking about that bloody image of Jesus that excuse me, they probably cleaned it up. They cleaned it up nowadays, but the one that we had to look at with the blood and dripping down and everything like that, I feel like that must have been what a graven image is, but we can go look into it at another time. So, or the likeness of anything, okay, which the Lord thy God hath forbid thee. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God. Okay. And you know what? When I even look at this, consuming, a consuming fire. There is a burning that I think is going on. And I'm not saying that that's what this is, but there is definitely some fire going on within the people, and we're not even taking that energy and redirecting it to cause any we're not trying to cause any pain um on purpose, but some people feelings gonna be hurt when they see what the truth is. But I feel like there is, when you get into this state of mind, it stays with you. It stays with you. Okay. And jealous, I don't know, you know what I'm saying, but this is the one. Okay. um when thou shalt beget children and the children's children. Okay. So that's this is telling me we might be, to simplify what I was saying earlier, we might be talking about 3 generations here. Okay. And ye shall have remained long in the land. Now, okay. and shall corrupt yourselves. This is the thing. You're going to corrupt yourselves and make a graven image. Mhm. Or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God. So they're going to do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God and provoke him to anger. Now, this reminds me of Shaka Zulu when he was getting schooled on who I think it was Jesus was. And that he thought, no, I'm the king around here. And then they said, no, it's somebody else. He the king of all kings. And he like, I don't understand what you're talking about. you know, but anyway, um, these graven images or whatever is going to, and hey, uh, um, graven image, now that it's ringing a bell to me, could mean anything. So, um, it really can. Um, It could be this television things we watch on this television nowadays. Since they didn't clean Jesus up and put a nice clean white cloth on him, and he looked nice and got children standing around him now. He not bleeding on the cross anymore. The graven image could be something else, okay? So, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God and provoke him to anger. So we'll just, I don't know who the Lord thy God is. Um, Hey, it could be the sleeping giant in the room, and that some of the stuff that them sleeping giants might be experiencing and seeing might be provoking something inside of them that's going to lead them to a certain way of feeling. So I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utter perish from the land, off the land whereunto you go over the Jordan. And I wish I can just really pinpoint this Jordan. I want to start pinpointing some of these waterways and rivers and stuff. I really do. So, um, okay, to possess it, ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but it shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen. So here we go with this word heathen. Is another word I kind of look at, and sometimes I really don't know. It's kind of like some people might look at it as like a godless or you know inhu. Well, okay, some people might look at it as something not good or whatever, but I'm not you know savage heathen, all these things. When I hear these kind of terms thrown around, I don't feel the same way. So, whither the Lord shall lead you, and there ye shall serve gods, the work of men's hands. Okay, so they're gonna serve people. Okay, um, and okay, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. So, and there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear nor eat nor smell. Okay, so, that's telling you that this is something other than maybe like I told you before, the idols that look more human. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if you seek him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. When thou art in tribulations, so tribulations are going to come. But this could be tricky because we've had tribulations on and off every some odd many of years, and they are under the guise of something else or some kind of war or some kind of uh, pestilence or drought or whatever, So, uh, even some of us look at it today as what's going on with, you know, the perception of what we're given of what's happening to that very well could be happening to certain people. We'll just keep it like that. And all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God and shalt be obedient unto his voice. So again, this is reiterating to me that there is not going to be really like, I don't know about this burning bush or whatever on this mount. I don't know. And you know what that just made me think about? Oh my goodness. What movie was that or what show was that? I don't know if that was Marco. Is it Marco Polo or Marco whatever? I think when he went up to that mountain and had to drink that stuff in order to go through that trance, in order to see something. And I think it was another movie that's some kind of part like that played out. He had to go into like a zone or whatever in order to kind of see something or hear something. But um but anyways, this also reminds me of like meditating or um you know just going within and starting to listen to something that you naturally need should be in tune with, that we don't do that nowadays because we have so many things and technology and so many interests and so many things that we're worried about and concerned about and bills and all these other things, stressful things that's piling up upon people where you can't in school and work and all this nonsense that we weren't put here on this plane to deal with. Okay, these are all things that keep you from yourself and keep you from truth. Okay. So, in that, when we say that, um, that could just be another way of going within and listening to your heart or listening to the voice from within. Okay. So, for the Lord thy God is merciful God, he will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, not uh, nor forget the covenant of the fathers which he sware unto them. Now, I mean, this could be still talking about the Native Americans or the peoples that came afterwards. It could be talking about the whatever people that were here prior to colonization and mixing with other races and breeding and not well, we weren't, but you know what I'm saying, being bred out or flooded. We'll see. Well, I like that term better. Flooded. Okay. But throughout the bloodline and whatever else. Okay. So again, this is the thing. So it says, "For the Lord thy God is merciful; he will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant." So now this particular, he's saying scattering them throughout the nation, but the nations or whatever, but not to destroy them totally. And it just seems like this same particular God has chosen to do this for these people for a long time. So when they say certain people go back for a long time, you know, um, you know, I'm just saying. So let's go ahead and stop there. Um, I would like to go on, but I don't want to be rude and hold you guys up too much because I'm really not saying much here. We're just picking through, you know. Okay. Oh, wait. I wanted to say that. Okay, so the thing is to be obedient to his voice. Now, how can we really know that we're hearing something that might be different than what we've been feeling and hearing and thinking that we were feeling previous when we were being defiling our temples by worshiping these said idols, right? So when your mind is filled with that somewhat nonsense of that, then you clear your mind and take a step back and then go ahead and take a step back from anybody that is tampering with the way you're thinking about something, and you go ahead and use that energy and put that energy forth to listen to the stillness and the quiet that's going on and listen to that voice that's guiding you into truth, then you will see that there has not been anything that has touched your uh, mind, body, and soul, your chakras, whatever you want to say, that get you in line with the way that you see the world today. It's a whole different thing. And like I like to say, there's no be like Eve, okay, or no belief, or there is no just standing on this faith alone. That it sounds like nonsense to me. Now, some people gonna get all upset about what I just said, but that's just me. This is the road. Like, this dude is on this road in front of us, or this female, whoever it is. This is the road that I'm choosing. This is where I am being led by my creator. And I don't believe that we all share the same one. This is where that voice is guiding me. It's a very interactive in my life on a daily basis, consuming. Like, I like the way that they use that word, a consuming fire, because when this happens to you, it will consume you. Do you understand? You will not be able to even pretend to be uh still operating 100%, because nobody's going to be able to get out 100%, but you may not be operating 100% in the way that they set the system up in order to keep sheeple going where they need them to go, where they can get where they need to get into finishing it off. So I think they've thought wrong. And I think there are millions of people waking up to truths and information. And I'm loving being here and experiencing and seeing a part of something that I think that the ancestors and those who came before us would have loved to see happen. So I'm not saying today or tomorrow or whatever, but I'm saying that we are headed in we don't have to wait for any man to give us any kind of change anymore. I think that's why they stopped with that narrative when it comes to these um, horse and pony shows that we call elections, because they know that we're not here for that change no more. It wasn't never coming. Okay. So now you have this dude up in here talking about making something great again. When again, who's in so much denial to think that we're going to make something great again? Unless you're going to go ahead and reinstall or put back in what greatness was before it had fallen. Okay. Because other people that want to come here and talk about who is on this land, at least the people you like to call immigrants or undocumented or Mexican or whoever you would like to call them, no matter what, these people are offspring of peoples that, this is just my opinion, are somewhat offspring of people. I would look at them as more, they belong here before somebody that came from overseas to from another plane, coming here and settling. Okay, they should have more rights to the land than those. Okay, so this is the way I look at it. Everybody, we all here now. It's a melting pot. Okay, so we're all here now. So, respecting each other and just having compassion and love for people, but knowing who's who and what has been taken from who and who is owed at least the respect to have the information and be able to look into their story and unravel the truth about their history, because our story is the one that has been uh, deviated, hidden, picked apart, and misled more than anybody's story. But we have all been deceived. So on that note, I'm going to let you guys go because I know I'm holding you up, and I don't want to be that person. So I will actually see you guys soon, or I might jump back on tomorrow. I'm just loving doing this. Like, if I can just sit here and do this all day long and I didn't have to take care of people and I didn't have to do other things to try to be productive in my household, then I would just sit here and do this all day. But I will be back and I will see you guys soon. Take care.